Our special guest YOSHIKI will join us today in the midst of concert rehearsals. On behalf of all of us, thank you for joining us at such a busy time.
So you skip out from your rehearsal?
Yes, I'm performing tonight too.
Well, congratulations on your great performance last night. It was amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Yeah, it must feel great to be back and performing again.
What was your first Japan experience?
That was my first experience. I've seen you play classical piano, but I've never seen you run the whole show with extra piano. It was amazing.
Did you like it?
I loved it. And I loved how your fans are such an integral part of what you do.
Yeah, fans are part of our show.
They're part of your show and part of your culture. Yeah, that's so important.
Thank you.
I was sitting next to Mark and you said,
Wow, wow, wow.
Did you enjoy the show too?
yes, of course, of course.
Did you get extra jump?
Next time.
Yeah,
I was
next
Oh, yeah.
Next jump.
Yeah.
So,
What was your favorite part of last night?
And that was my first show after my surgery. New surgery, I had artificial disc. So, yeah, pretty much everything. When I showed up on stage and then stand up in drums, when I saw the audience and friends, it almost made me cry. It's like, wow, I came back on stage.
So you're back.
Yeah, semi, but yeah.
Yes. You're going to perform in
Coachella, yes. We are performing this Saturday at Coachella Festival.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're going to fly now to Los Angeles.
Yeah,
And you're going to go to Palm Springs and you're going to be at Coachella.
then you're coming to the second Coachella.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be there.
You too.
I am trying to rearrange the schedule.
Yeah. Wow,
That's
that's
great.
so exciting. So you must be thrilled.
Completely.
And your other band members, what did they say after last night? Do you know any stories?
Yeah, we are having a meeting today because that's just stepped out. They really enjoyed it too. Japan back.
Is it hard for you to go from your doing heavy metal drumming the way that Lars Ulrich does with Metallica, but then you move over and you're an amazing classical pianist, like one of the great piano players of all time, and you're going back and forth? Nobody does that in the music industry. How is it possible that you do that?
Thanks for asking that. I'm trying to get used to it, but still, it's like running like a few miles, like super fast, and stop and do zazen or something like that. It's like it's really hard. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, which is that we've been to Kyoto many times, and we've also gone, and we were just talking about Shoshin and beginner's mind, and you and I have practiced Zazen meditation at Ryoanji and also many other famous temples in Kyoto. How has meditation impacted your ability to perform and succeed?
It's like almost like meditating, like people show kicks in on drum set. It's very important to concentrate. It's part of my concentration process, everything. Mark also invited me to the Salesforce Tower. I knew Salesforce Tower, but by the way, that's the tallest building in San Francisco.
It was part of the United States, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It was amazing. The top floor, 61st floor, is amazing. Anyway, so also Mark's building has the meditation room.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Every floor.
We have meditation room, mindfulness room.
With Hasani?
Yes, on every floor of every Salesforce building worldwide, we have a meditation and mindfulness floor. Because, of course, we're all online all the time. We're all on our phones. We're all connected. Well, sometimes you have to unplug.
Yeah.
And that's why we have meditation and mindfulness is more important than ever. So our employees need that opportunity right on their floor that they're on to have a meditation experience.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, exactly. We're often have a meditation room.
Yes.
Meditation and the rehearsal room and meditation room. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
over there. You want anybody?
Oh yeah, Shinya Yamanaka is here, the Nobel Prize winner, and
Please be
the writer of the iPS stem cells. Welcome. Nice to see you, Yamanaka. How are you? It's been a long time.
Remember, I first met Shinya-san, Yamanaka-san, in Kyoto. You invited me to Soba Noodle shop. What year?
Oh, yes, right, that's right.
Very famous noodle restaurant.
Famous noodle restaurant, and we had a very good dinner on Monday night at Sushi Iwa. So we had a sushi restaurant, and then we went to a good time in Kyoto. So it's a great country. I love it here.
Also, Yamanaka-san, I had the Olympic celebration.
Oh, yes. Last year.
Last year, yes. Yamanaka-san came to my dinner show. This is really fun, the Japan show. But the piano, he can't do dinner show.
And that, look, we actually, Mark and I myself are talking about the importance of SLP in terms of advancement of the technology and so forth. Can you give us your personal perspective and opinion about the importance of SLP?
Yes, as you may know, I go to San Francisco every month. It's my monthly commute. I've been doing this for the last decade, 10 years. And I've been learning a lot. One thing I'm learning a lot is philanthropic mind in the States. It's very helpful, extremely helpful for us scientists. So that's one of the biggest driving force in the States. And people like Mikani-san has already begun such kind of mindset in Japan. But compared to the States, it's still small. So I've been working very hard to increase the awareness of the importance of such kind of philanthropic mind. So it's
Great.
very important.
Including the music industry or film industry in America. A lot of people have their own foundation. Yeah, that's very popular. I'm also doing the YOSHIKI Foundation in America.
Thank you very much.
It's kind of like doing a little bit of selfish way because helping people kind of helps me. Like that deep because I was always trying to look for the reason why I exist in this world. Sometimes doing rock music and breaking everything in the screen stage, I lose it. But I try to find the reason to start helping people through my foundation,
Yes.
through people's foundation.
Great.
Then I found that whoa, made me realize the reason it's part of the reason I exist. So helping people can also help yourself.
That's great. I'm very proud of you.
But
Thank you
then
for
you
doing
guys
that.
want to keep standing or you want to sit?
Oh
Oh, sure. You can have a seat.
Maybe it's
Great.
maybe when you saw the this is not the
Sit here, you should. Okay.
You need not have the-
Thank you.
Very good.
Oh, here's one more chair. Very magical. Great.
So you're excited about Coachella?
Completely. Yeah.
First, the Asian band or an artist to perform there.
Yeah.
Can you
Also-
explain what it is?
Actually, we have a big news. We are. Anyway, so tomorrow I'm gonna give news about Coachella too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Also, the Grammy award named top 3 artists to anticipate for Coachella. Beyonce, Weeknd, and Japan. So, big announcement tomorrow about Coachella.
But you are so much involved in entertainment as well. You have so many friends and
Yes.
Why?
Well, I think that there's a lot very similar creativity process, and I think this is where we connect as innovators. I view YOSHIKI as a huge innovator, not a musician. Of course, he's so talented, whether he's on the drums or piano or writing music or leading his band, but he's an innovator. He has his own winery in the Napa Valley. He creates many amazing products with companies like Sanrio, or he even is working on electric cars. He's a very innovative person. It kind of flows, the spirit of innovation flows through YOSHIKI, And I think if I would say something about you, Mikitani-san, I would say the spirit of innovation flows through you. And I think you would agree. And so I think people like musicians or people who are in creating businesses or creating art or creating technology, it's all the same idea of creating. And when you can kind of allow the creation to come through very powerful. Now, of course, this might be different than if you're a business manager or leader, or you think you're just, facilitating a process in a company. But I don't look at human beings that way. I think all of us have creativity inside us, and if we allow the innovation to come through us, if we open our heart and we allow it to come through us, and just sit back and realize, oh, I can feel that there's a future coming through me, that's where it's so exciting. And that's what I see in YOSHIKI or other friends of mine who are great musicians, like Will.i.am or Lars Ulrich or so many others who, it's this Neil Young is a great example. I introduced Neil Young to YOSHIKI. He's been a musician for more than 40 years. In fact, I brought Neil Young here to Japan to meditate in Kyoto and so forth. And there's a direct connection between his ability to innovate and create over 4 decades. And you look at a musician like YOSHIKI, how many people are able to keep their band together for many decades? It's amazing, a great leader. Would you agree?
And then, yeah, I completely agree, but you have so many friends in IT industry as well, right? Not only the entertainment industry, but like me, Mark.
Mark introduced me to so many great CEOs, so in Chinese too.
What do you think about it?
I usually call them like a tech stars, stars, because they are, you, Mark, you're very like a rock starish.
We have the smartest person in Japan.
Yeah, it's like, doing rock, it doesn't mean just doing music, it's more of a lifestyle. Sometimes people are afraid to go over your comfort zone. You want to stay in your comfort zone, but breaking some kind of wall, really rock and roll means like go outside your comfort zone. So that's the same as innovate things. All the tech leaders, CEOs are very aggressive in that kind of sense.
Yeah, Yamanaka-san, you must connect very deeply on this conversation as well. You're a great innovator and visionary.
Well, like a couple of weeks ago, a journalist asked me a question. He asked, that's common. Do you think there's anything common between science and art? I don't have time to answer because to me, science is art. There's no difference. Because what we are doing is exactly the same as what artists like YOSHIKI is doing. Because we are trying to generate something creative, something innovative. So I would say I want to be an artist.
What do you do to become more creative and innovative in your field? When you're looking, you've had a huge breakthrough and you've created things that have never existed. You've won the Nobel Prize, and yet you still have a hunger to be more innovative, and you're still creating new things. How do you maintain an innovative
Well,
mind?
just like artists, we have to be free. We need to have very free time. So that's why people like you, philanthropists, is extremely important because you give me a lot of free time. Instead of writing many applications to national grant, thanks to your support, I can focus on very basic research in San Francisco. So that's very important. Well, of course, translational research, for example, bringing iPS cells to patients, is extremely important. But it's not an art. It's something we must do. It's a job. But as a scientist, I want to be creative. I want to be innovative. So I really need some spare free time. Thank you so much for this.
Very exciting.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for your great contributions to humanity.
I think one of the most important things is how to take away your fear of the failure.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Japanese fear of what? Failure. Or in Japanese, to be ashamed.
Yes.
The Japanese culture is part of shame culture, right? And you don't want to be, kind of ashamed in front of the public. If you fail, it's haji in Japanese.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the reasons that we don't see so much disruptors or innovators in what is
by kind of say, go outside of your comfort zone. Because as long as they are doing everything in comfort zone, so basically you're afraid to fail, right?
These people are broken. Our faith is broken.
Yeah.
My hands are broken too. Yeah, but I mean, people fail. Yeah, I mean that's you just get used to it sometimes. I mean, I feel like 100 times, a million times.
The phrase I learned from you is why not?
Why not? Exactly.
So in that sense, I think Japanese culture is kind of a linear culture. It's one way. No failure is allowed. But in US, I think it's a bit different. It's more like a circle. You can take many ways. And failure can be regarded as an experience. So I see a huge difference between Japanese culture and US culture.
Yeah, we need to change that.
I mean, that's the bone, right? When you break a bone, then when the bone gets healed, it gets stronger. So every time you fail, you get stronger and stronger.
That's what you got into the audience.
So we don't
What other kind of things do you see that are different between the United States and Japan? You really become an authority in this area because you're working part-time in Kyoto, part-time in San Francisco with two of the top, most innovative cultures in the world.
So one critical difference is that my best students in my program, they want to go to a big company, a big pharmaceutical company. Whereas my best students are also in San Francisco, they want to go to expensive company. So it's a huge difference. But I can say it's changing in Japan. More and more young students, they are interested in venture companies. So I think it's we are on the right track.
Very exciting.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, this,
Seriously, that's why we create Nest.
Yes.
The Japan New Economy. We're trying to embrace entrepreneurship, creativity, become global. And I think that's why I've been trying to invite you to join the conference.
If you could have one wish and you could wave a magic wand for the Japanese economy, Mikitani-san, and the Japanese mind and the current state of Japan, what would be your one wish?
Language.
English. Because if everybody can completely communicate in English, Japan will become more open, and we can have more talented people coming to Japan. Because Tokyo is the third most popular city to visit right now. In Asia, of course, Hong Kong, China is great,
Yeah.
but definitely in terms of the living standards,
Yeah.
Tokyo is the best. The food, culture,
Uh-huh.
safetyness.
Yes, I agree.
So if we can become more global, we
Yeah.
have a massive amount of super talented
Yeah.
people coming here and start making more innovation.
Great. Yoshiki, what's your one wish for Japan? If you could wave your magic wand, what would it be?
Yeah, a lot in Chinese is one of my wish, I guess. I mean, first of all, learning English is not difficult. If you spend 1 month learning English, or if you spend 1 month composing music, or as Yamana spend like some kind of like experimental thing, like 1 month. Sometimes you don't get results, composing music or something. But learning, you get instant results. So when I first went to America over 20 years ago, I spoke zero English. So anyway, and also again, it's like Japanese people are amazing, very talented too, but need to challenge more. Just really go for it. I mean, why not, right?
And what is your one wish for Japan, Yamada-san?
So I think in order to success in science or in life, this is what I learned when I was a postdoc. We need vision. So we need to have good vision, and we need to work hard for that vision. So be invested. I can see many hard workers in Japan, but with less vision. think what we are lacking in Japan is have a good, big vision, long-term vision. We can work hard, and that's for sure. So if we have good vision, I think we can be much stronger.
And so I'm thinking about consulting, being entertainment industry. I hope a lot more, people, music industry, entertainment industry, Japanese people, gonna be, more doing philanthropy work. Yeah, I think that's my wish.
I was thinking I have a dream for Japan too, and my dream for Japan is more gender equality, more women really brought into the workforce. The World Economic Forum, where I'm a trustee, does a ranking every year of the top 144 countries in the world, and their position in gender equality and their position with women. And just a few years ago, Japan ranked number 80 out of 144, which is very low. But this year, Japan's fallen further, and it's number 114 out of 144 out of gender equality. And I think that when I look at gender equality, I look at things like equal opportunity, equal advancement, equal pay for equal work, and also preventing sexual discrimination, the things we hear about in the Me Too movement. And I think for Japan's economy to grow, and of course, for more innovation to happen as well, we have to bring in more women. And we have to advance women, and women need to be valued. And when you look at some of the most productive countries in the world and their success, we see more women and we see more gender equality. And I would say this is my wish for Japan.
Yeah, I can't agree more. So in my institute in Kyoto, we have 20 professors, but we only have one woman professor. So I'm out of my fault.
But what is your big initiative right now?
Well, I think even if you look at this conference or look at this panel, we have no women up here. And I think that, when you look at the number of speakers here at the conference, when we look at the panels, how they're constructed, there needs to be more women. And women are one of the greatest sources of creativity and innovation and success and leadership. And I think that this is something that we can do. And this could be a goal you could take for the conference for next year, to have more gender balance. And this is something I pay attention to a lot in my own leadership, not just in my company, but in my events and conferences, because I think we are in a world now where equality, exactly what you said, is very important. Gender equality is important, LGBTQ equality is important, more diversity and inclusion. Of course, we're trying to protect our environment because the environment is a quality. Because when the environment goes wrong, the people who get hurt the worst are the ones that are the least, like we talked about. If there isn't fish in the ocean, the people who rely on that protein, they're going to be dramatically, hurt. And I think that this is where we can kind of step in and we can say, okay, we can have more equal world. Because as this fourth industrial revolution gets unleashed and all this technology happens and artificial intelligence, there is a risk where we could have less equality. And so we need to be more conscious and mindful of our own leadership, that we want to have more equality in the world. And I think that's something that we can't talk about the new economy without talking about a new equality.
I see. So we are going to improve, but you have to come back next year and check it out.
I will come back next year.
Now you have to perform again.
Yes.
That time.
Okay, unfortunately, we are running out of time, so please give a big round of applause to the Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time and a great session. ありがとうございました。今一度大きな拍手をお送りください。
All right, thank you.
特にコンサートのリハーサルを受けてきていただいて、もう一度大きな拍手をよろしくお願いします。